In a show where Satan, the personification of global warming, and Mickey Mouse are characters, the worst of them all is a fourth grader. The dictionary defines evil as profoundly immoral and wicked, and this definition fits no other fictional character better than it does Eric Cartman. And today, I'm going to be discussing why I think this. So, to simplify everything, I'm going to break this video down into 4 parts. His crimes, the list of crimes, and also going into detail on some more specific ones. His psychology, or rather his morals. His relationships with the other characters. And why I think he's above all other characters in media in terms of evilness. How does one quantify evil? If I were to describe every crime he's committed, the video would be significantly longer. So instead, I'm going to list all of the crimes he's committed, and then I'm going to go into detail about 5 of his more memorable escapades, per se. So I got this list of crimes from the internet, from fandom specifically, so if anything is wrong, just let me know in the comments. We've got underage driving, hit and run, unlicensed machinery operation, false imprisonment, slander, child pornography, embezzlement, trespassing, grave robbing, patricide, attempted matricide, attempted global domination, war crimes, infringement, conspiracy, attempted bribery, arson, smuggling, stalking, extortion, zoophilia, animal cruelty, hijacking, enforced suicide, treason, mass shoplifting, corpse desecration, blackmail, mass murder, incrimination, psychological abuse, torture, rape, fraud, breaking and entering, terrorism, assault and battery, attempted genocide, shoplifting, enforced cannibalism, property damage, crimes against humanity, indecent exposure, mutilation, prostitution, genocide, hate crimes, medical terrorism, and murder by proxy. These 5 crimes of his that I'm deciding to go into more detail with aren't necessarily his worst offenses, but they just have a character to them that gives them another layer of evil that isn't necessarily there in his other or most heinous actions. Now let's start off light with... In the season 7 episode, Kyle is going to the Denver restaurant that Cartman loves, Casa Bonita, and gets to invite 3 of his friends because it's his birthday, and he chooses Stan, Kenny, and Butters, leaving out Cartman. And after he has a meltdown about this, he gets back in Kyle's good graces and manipulates him into being a backup for Butters if he can't come. So naturally, he tricks Butters into thinking that an asteroid is heading towards Earth and that everyone will die because it will destroy the Earth. And he locks him in a bomb shelter for a few days, and he takes his place. But the party is held off for another week because the town is looking for Butters. So he convinces Butters that there's cannibals ruling the Earth and he has to move him. And he locks him in an old fridge, which gets moved to a garbage dump where Butters tries to rebuild society. And Cartman just does not feel bad about these actors at all. He gets caught right as they get into Casa Bonita, and he runs around until he's caught. And after the police ask him if it was worth it, he says,
"Well, kid, you made an entire town panic, you lost all your friends, and now you're going to juvenile hall for a week. Was it worth it?"
Totally.
In this season 8 episode, Cartman watches The Passion of the Christ and gets the wrong message from it, that of something of anti-Semitism, and inspired by this misguided message, he tries to recreate the Holocaust. He gets a bunch of people who don't know what's going on. He dresses up in a Hitler costume. It's interesting, I'll give the episode that. In this season 15 episode, Cartman is sent to anger management, and the therapist tries to provoke him by calling him fat in several different ways, very aggressively and very relentlessly, but he doesn't seem to have a reaction. He just stares blankly and then just gets on his phone or whatever. So the therapist notes that this is unusually calm response of him, and until the assistant comes in and says that his wife is on the phone. And this call, we don't hear what she says, his wife says, but it is very disturbing. We hear him trying to calm his wife down about something, and then we hear him talking about something about a criminal record, and him being in a chat room with a 14-year-old girl, and then telling his wife to put the gun down, and then we hear a gunshot as he looks up from his phone, and Eric Cartman says,
"I'm not fat, I'm big boned."
And this isn't something that the therapist actually did. Cartman framed him for doing this because he called him fat. He got his wife to commit suicide because the therapist called him fat. That's so insane. So this season 9 episode starts out with Cartman making a presentation and showing it to the class about why he hates ginger kids, very obviously targeting Kyle because they hate each other and he has red hair. So he basically starts this thing where they segregate against everyone who's ginger, and they ban them from eating and lunch in the same room. So to get revenge, Kyle and Stan prank Cartman into turning him ginger with freckles and everything. And instead of learning a lesson in empathy, Cartman starts a ginger separatist movement, unites all the gingers, radicalizes them, and tries to make them genocide everyone who's not ginger. This is so crazy. But luckily by the end of the episode, Kyle tells Cartman that he's not actually ginger and everything calms down. But this is easily the craziest attempted genocide he's done. And he's done more than one, as you saw with the last example. And speaking of ginger kids, this season 5 episodes contains probably the most famous crime of Eric Cartman, and for good reason, as you'll see. So basically what happens is a 9th grader named Scott Tenorman scams him out of $16.12 and publicly embarrasses him. This is a very oversimplified version of what happened, but time and time again in the episode, Cartman is shown to be very stupid and gullible, and by the end of the episode, the audience is given up basically all hope of him getting his revenge, until his whole plan is shown. What was his plan? He got Scott Tenorman's parents killed and fed them to him in a chili. It's so dark. And then he got his favorite band, Radiohead, to watch him cry over his dead parents that he just ate. It's so gruesome and funny and so iconic. It's one of the best episodes of SouthPark, and it truly shows the lengths that Cartman will go just to get back at someone. Cartman's morals are due to nothing more than him being a bratty, immature child with the dials turned up to 11 that will do anything to get his way. And as we've seen with previous examples, he has. We can see this with how if he doesn't like someone, he will not only discriminate against them, but the entire group of people that they're a part of, which we can see with people like Kyle and Wendy and Token. And we see specifically that it's only this person, if he doesn't like them, that he'll discriminate against their whole group in the post-COVID special, where after he, Stan, Kyle, and Kenny split up, he actually becomes a rabbi in the future because he had no reason to pick on Kyle, and therefore he had no reason to be anti-Semitic, and his whole family is Jewish too, which I think is very telling. We can also see this in his relationship with Butters, where he picks on him because he's just the easiest target around, and he will do some insane things to him as a joke or for something small or stupid, like in the aforementioned episode Casa Bonita. Even his actions toward the anger management therapist and Scott Tenorman, although seeming to be the work of an evil genius on the surface, are really nothing more than immature pettiness taken to the absolute extreme.
Nya, 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 nya. I made you eat your parents. Nya, 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 nya.
Given that Leanne Cartman is his mother and part of his only living immediate family, she is definitely his most fundamental relationship that we are shown, and lots of his behavior can be stemmed from her. She does not act evil like he does, but it's rather her indulgence of letting him do and get whatever he wants that causes a lot of problems. Now, it should be noted that although this is not productive parenting method, his behavior should not be completely attributed to her, as if he was a normal child, he would not be anywhere near as close to this bad, even if he was raised in this same environment. Luckily, we see in the last episode with him and his mom, season 26, Dick and Boss Hot Dogs, that she's taking a stricter parenting approach, which gives us hope for the future of her being a better parent. His relationship with Kyle Profosky is one of the most prominent in the show, as their arguments are often the catalyst for episode plots. Like previously mentioned, he is the reason that Cartman is so anti-Semitic, but once they separate in the aforementioned post-COVID special, he calms down quite a bit and significantly improves in character. But once they meet back up again, this anger rekindles and they start fighting and kind of regress. I once saw someone summarize his feelings for Kyle perfectly in my eyes, that being of Cartman having some sort of demented crush on him. Even though they fight a lot, there's something in the way that he's obsessed with Kyle that gives off this kind of impression. Obviously, if you don't agree, that's fine, but I still think there's something to be said about this aspect of their relationship. Also, I don't chip them, just wanted to put that out there. But regardless, I think the biggest reason for the friction between the two of them is their drastically different worldviews paired with their short tempers, which is why they're often the conflicts of episodes, or rather them going against each other is. Cartman picks on Butterscotch because he knows that he probably and usually doesn't stand up for himself. Butters is so naive and innocent that he will usually go along with whatever Cartman is doing, believing everything that he says, as seen in episodes like Casa Bonita, Osimo, Cartman Sucks, and many, many more. I think their dynamic works so well because they are both such great characters on their own, but together they make some of the most highly regarded episodes of the whole show, and for good reason. But on the rare occasion that Butters does stand up to Cartman, it's usually the most satisfying part of the episode, because we see this bully that Cartman is get put down. While I was making this video, I looked up lists of the most evil characters in all of media, but Eric Cartman never seemed to appear, and I think I know why. All the people on these lists felt justified in what they were doing in their actions because they thought they were doing it for some greater good. A lot of these villains also appear more sinister and menacing because of the things they wear that make them feel darker, and they are also the media that they're in, where everything is a lot more dramatic. But with SouthPark and Cartman, this is the opposite of the truth, where everything is bright and sunny, but it is a lot darker stuff happens, I'd argue. Cartman does what he does because it's fun for him, or it's because he's a hedonist, or he'll do it for some completely stupid and petty reason. He isn't trying to do any greater good, even a misguided one. He is completely selfish. And also, unlike the other people on this list, the audience doesn't wish to see him permanently punished. Oh sure, in episodes like Breast Cancer Show Ever, we want to see justice enacted, but never to agree that would kill him or put him in jail for life, because then he wouldn't be part of the show anymore, and without Cartman, there would be no SouthPark. He is such a major part of the show that this loss would be felt like no other. I think that he is the most evil character out of all characters in media, is because of not only the joy he sees, but because he has the audacity to make the audience like him. And that is why I think that Eric Cartman is the most evil character of all time. Hey guys, so thanks for watching the video. I've been wanting to talk about SouthPark for a little while now because I've been obsessed with the show recently, so this has been really fun. And if you want me to do another video like this, or in the same vein of talking about SouthPark, just let me know. Or analyzing other evil characters, because this is just really fun for me to do. But thanks for watching. Bye!